Hey guys, it's Dakota Barrett. I'm coming to do my final communication speech, and today we're going to do it over the difference in having Charolais and Brangus cattle. Now, me personally, I'm a Charolais guy. I really like them. I'm going to give you some reasonings for that. Now I'm going to give you some reasonings kind of backing for the Brangus, but I think I'm going to overcome that in the end. And I'm a Charolais guy through and through. Behind me you can see got a Charolais heifer and a Brangus heifer that we're weaning. Now their age difference is pretty far apart, and so they're not the same size. But I just wanted to give y'all a look what we're looking at. The white one's a Charolais and the black one's the Brangus. First of all, a Charolais is going to fill out more. A Charolais is going to have just probably a little bit better bag. A Charolais has been known to get out and hustle more, and when I talk about hustling more, that's out there. If you don't have much grass, they're going to go find some. Whereas to a Brangus cow, they may not do that. A Brangus cow may kind of settle in and wait, and they may even lose weight before they go out and hustle to get grass. And I use that word hustle kind of lightly, but it means a lot in raising cattle. That's why a lot of people raise Longhorns. But the difference in Longhorns is even compared to a Brangus, their meat doesn't marble as good. It's not as good to eat. So at the sale barn, they don't bring as much money, and that's what you're all in the cattle business for, is to make a little bit more money. And in the end of the day, it's a business whether you got 5 or you got 500. Now we're going to talk about when they become mama cows. You see, the Brangus, I get the argument a lot from people. The Brangus, they think they have a bigger bag. The Charolais produces better milk, and that's a fact. And most of the milk, like what you drink, will come from a milk cow, which would be your Jerseys, your little Shorthorns, whatever it may be, Brown Swiss. It's not going to be out of these, but as far as raising calves, it's all about who's got the better milk. May not be the most milk. Now that black calf right there, it's about 3 months younger than this calf, but the difference in them this cow's going to be probably close to a foot taller than this Charolais. Now the reason for that's how they're made. They're made a little bit bigger bone, they're a little bit taller cattle. It takes a little more to keep them in shape, you know. Me, I kind of like smaller cattle, and the reason for that is they don't eat as much. It's just kind of like people. I'm going to eat more than a smaller person. Now the Charolais here looks big compared to them. Like I said, there's an age difference, but when they become cows, it'll kind of be apples to oranges. They're both cows, but at the end of the day, one's a lot bigger and one's going to be smaller. Now the Charolais will fill out wider, even with less to eat. They're a big broad calf. You can see as that calf's walking away, got a big broad butt, whereas the Brangus will kind of be narrow in the back end. Now the Brangus has a little bit more ear, and what that means is their ears are longer. They're a little bit wider. When you go to a sale barn, them buyers, they really like that. They like a little bit more ear, but they don't like too much. So as to where a Bremer calf, too much ear, it's going to be a lot longer than that calf's. Too much ear is not any good. Now Charolais to me has the perfect right in between, and this goes back to why I want every farmer to get into the Charolais. The Charolais calf's going to have enough ear on it for the buyers to buy good, but it's not going to have that too much. Now the Brangus cattle, a lot of times they don't have too much, but when you start crossing cattle like I do, and I've got a mixed herd, I've got a Charolais bull on all my cows, and I've got Charolais, I've got Longhorns, I've got Branguses. When you start mixing them, sometimes them Brangus throw off a little bit too much ear. Now like I said, it all goes back to the sale barn and buying and selling cattle, and you want your top dollar for your calf. And me, I keep some of my own heifers every year, and these are 2 of them. Another thing with the Charolais cow, when he comes off the back end, on the bottom, on the behind side, down kind of towards his leg, you'll notice it's always going to be thicker, even as a calf, bigger than this Brangus. If I took these at the sale barn right now and they both weighed the same, that Charolais would probably bring more money. I can't guarantee it. The market kind of fluctuates up and down, but I'm going to say that Charolais brings more money because it's got more healthy meat on it. It'll be farther along if they're at the same age. Now this Brangus calf, you can look at their tail. That's another thing to me. In summertime when flies get bad, a lot of time a Brangus cow won't have as long of a tail on. A lot of times a Brangus cow, is not going to be able to ward off those flies and stuff like a Charolais will. The other thing is Charolais, when you're matching cattle, their calves, if they're all around the same age, they seem to match a little better, so you can group them at a sale barn. That also helps bring money compared to selling just one. Now, a Brangus calf, you can group them sometimes, but I go back to talking about that ear length, and a lot of times their ear lengths are different. Even if they're the same mama cow, say you had twins, a lot of times they're not going to look identical. Now, a Brangus is a great type of cow. It's great for a lot of farmers. What it is, cross between a Bremer and an Angus. They come up with the name Brangus. But a Charolais is kind of a purebred thing. You see a lot of them around. You do see a lot of Charolais, and what you got to keep in mind when you're going to the sale barn is what's going to bring me the top dollar. Now, like my Longhorns, I know they won't bring as much as the Brangus, but I know the Brangus won't bring as much as the Charolais. So for me, I'm kind of coaling out and just going to all Charolais because of what I've seen over the last few years. And the market changes, you know. In 10 years, Brangus cattle may be way high above Charolais, but right now, the top dollar is in the Charolais business. And for me, that's what I'm all about. I got to make my money because what I put into these calves is just money out of my pocket, so I got to get that back somehow. The last thing I'll talk about is feed. When you're feeding these animals, a Brangus is going to take a little bit more salt. A Brangus is going to take a little bit more mineral than what your other cows will, because they are a bigger cow. They do have more needs. You'll see some Charolais animals that are bigger. Chances are they're not purebreds. They may be Snow White, but they're not a purebred Charolais. And I've got a few of them in the pasture myself that are bigger that I'm probably going to sell and try to rebuy back into Charolais. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is the difference in Brangus and Charolais all in the money. And I'll repeat that, but as a person with cattle, as a small farmer, you got to get your top dollar. Guys, I can't encourage you enough, but get out there, buy some Charolais, hang up the Brangus book, and I'll see y'all next time. It's been a pleasure doing these speeches. I hope when you get a chance to go buy cattle, you buy Charolais.